You know, if you go out and you want to buy groceries, you need a picture on a card. You need ID. You go out and you want to buy anything, you need ID and you need your picture.
This is very exciting for me. I know so many people that are in your church.
It's such a great honor.
The job you've done is beyond anything you can think of.
We're here in a place where we have food and material that we give to the poor.
Good stuff.
But this is simply an example of what we do across the world.
One here next door.
Come on outside. Let's get a picture. Come on.
We're very proud of you. Really proud of you, Joe.
The mandate given by the First Presidency and the presiding bishopric is to only focus on financial growth. EPA employees are told that the money will be used after the second coming of Jesus Christ or during Armageddon right before he would come again.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. All right, let's get to the State of the Union from last night, because now we know some more stuff in the latter days for what's going on in the bigger picture. But first, we have to find out if there are any Mormons left who are naive and not evil. Because the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are Jewish, which means they're not Christian. And apparently, everybody doesn't want to believe. Nobody reads the picture memes, so that they won't be held accountable to a higher law, so that they can be saved in ignorance at a lower law. And they don't seem to get it. The higher law is the celestial kingdom. You are Mormon and you don't want to go to the celestial kingdom. Why are you Mormon then? Only Mormons go to the highest degree of celestial kingdom if they're faithful. And you're not faithful, and so you're not going to the celestial kingdom, so why are you Mormon? Just dumb. 1 Nephi, chapter 1, verse 2, the Book of Mormon. I make a record in the language of my father, which consists of the learning of the Jews. What is the learning of the Jews? The Jewish religion. So Jesus is their Christ, right? Are you seriously mentally retarded? Are there anybody out there who didn't understand this, honestly didn't know that Jews are not Christians, and didn't know that the Book of Mormon says Jews, not Christians? Because when you don't want to admit what is blatantly in print, and especially when it concerns replacing the Jews with Christianity, that makes you a white supremacist, Christian nationalist, racist bigot. The worst of humanity. So no, Jesus is not the Jewish Christ. Section 3, verse 16. Doctrine and Covenants, in case you're a stupid Mormon. You know, if you weren't attacking me with your ignorance and your hate, I wouldn't have to be having this tone. There are consequences, Mormons. You cannot believe whatever you want and just deny that the consequences will happen to you or complain when the consequences happen. I want to do what I want to do and not suffer the consequences. The knowledge of a Savior, Christ, has come unto the world through the testimony of the Jews. Guess what? It's not Jesus. But wait, there's more. Backing up the Book of Mormon, Joseph Smith says, "Even so shall the knowledge of a Christ, Savior, come unto Mormons," Jewish Christ. The Bible is Jewish, the Book of Mormon is Jewish, Joseph Smith is Jewish. You cannot use Christian interpretation on any of it. Do you need more? Because it's all over the scriptures. All you had to do was read and comprehend what you read. So 2 Nephi 29, verse 5. Actually, we can go to verse 3. "And because the Book of Mormon shall hiss forth, many of the Christians shall say, a Bible, we have got a Bible, and there cannot be any more Bible. But thus saith the Jewish Lord God, O fools, they shall have a Bible, and it shall proceed forth from the Jews, mine ancient covenant people. And what think Christians, the Jews, for the Bible which they received from them? Yea, what do the Christians mean? Do Christians remember the travails and the labors and the pains of the Jews? Do the Christians and the Jewish diligence unto me in bringing forth salvation unto the Christians? O ye Christians, have ye remembered the Jews, mine ancient covenant people? No! But you have cursed them, you have hated them, and have not sought to recover them. But behold, I will return all these things upon your head, for I the Lord have not forgotten my people. Thou fool, that shall say a Bible, we have got a Bible, and we need no more Bible. Have ye obtained a Bible, save it were by the Jews? And so what is the concept of a Jewish Christ? It's right there in the Book of Mormon. Second Nephi chapter 3 verse 5 puts both of them in here. Wherefore Joseph of Egypt truly saw our day, and he obtained a promise of the Lord that out of the fruit of his loins a human mortal person, not Trinity, not non-Trinity, human, the Lord God, Jewish, remember, would raise up a righteous branch unto the house of Israel. This is a Messiah, which is also a Christ, son of Ben Joseph of Egypt. He is the forerunner Christ. Because it says here that Messiah Ben Joseph is not the Messiah, who is also a human mortal being. Not Trinity, not non-Trinity. Human, mortal, like you. Unless you've got some messianic complex. Merging Christianity with Judaism. Right, Brian David Mitchell? Oh, you're in prison? Interesting. You were mentally retarded at first. And you got cured? But psychologists say you can't be cured of mental retardation. Right, Oaks? You've got that tardive dyskinesia thing going on, don't you? Nevertheless, but a branch which is to be broken off from Messiah ben David. Nevertheless, Messiah ben Joseph is to be remembered in the covenants of the Lord, that the Messiah ben David should be made manifest unto them in the latter days. So Messiah ben Joseph comes first. The Jews are still waiting. They don't acknowledge anybody matching this description. Neither one of them, though there are a lot of Jews getting very excited about what's going on in the Middle East. Unfortunately, Constantine corrupted them too. That's why they need to be reclaimed. So, who is Messiah ben Joseph? He's in the Book of Mormon. We're being taught as Mormons with the Book of Mormon about Messiah ben Joseph, that he will set things up for Mormons. Yeah, Joseph Smith Jr., verse 15, by name. And so Jesus, therefore, cannot be the Christ, Messiah ben David, because he can't be born in the Roman period time, because he has to be born after Joseph, and he can't be Trinity or non-Trinitarian. This is no duh stuff. Quit playing stupid to justify attacking with hate and racism and bigotry and lies and threats. You are the enemy. And you don't give a damn. And so only those who are left, who really just didn't know, you're welcome to continue to watch, because it's a whole new world. All the scriptures you have to go over all over again if you did them in the first place. What this means is that everything that Brigham to Nelson has been telling you, with all of the church leaders, all of the manuals, all of the footnotes, are all wrong, abominable, and corrupt, in case you never read the first vision of 1838, verse 19, talking about Christianity from the first creed. And so when people are lying to you, they are not wanting you to know what they are covering up with their lies. And ex-Mormons and former Mormons think they got it all figured out. Still assuming Jesus Christianity, though. Oops. Wrong. And so, yesterday I did a video that's in the prerequisite playlist, kind of essential to your eternal salvation, about the national security threat of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Yeah, they've been covering up a doozy, haven't they? They've gotten you all thinking, oh, yeah, we got you, Joseph. You didn't actually use a rock and a hat. You made it all up. I just want to scream. Literally, just want to scream. You leave the church, but you're still racist bigots. And you get mad at me for calling you a racist bigot when you are. You know, if you're innocent, like those who have been following me and have been trying to understand at least, there are a few that are picking up, catching on and know, but that means you're not guilty of what I'm condemning. Only those who are offended are guilty. It's right there in scriptures to warn you, don't be guilty, because you've got the problem, and it's bigger than what you're accusing with your offense. So, wonder how the stock market's doing today. I'm betting it's going to continue to crash. Because what Trump did yesterday was exactly what I was worried about. As a scientist who's deciphered Paleo-Hebrew and the learning of the Egyptians in the language of the Egyptians, not the learning of the Greeks and the language of the Egyptians, which also needs some adjustment, but they got that pretty much well down. It's just that they're applying it to the learning of the Egyptians and the language of the Egyptians, and that's screwing them all up. It's like merging Christianity with Judaism. You can't do it. So nobody's deciphered Egyptian but me, despite all of the PhDs in Egyptology. All they have are a PhD in the learning of the Greeks and the language of the Egyptians. That's it. That's as far as they know. And so they've still got a whole bunch of questions, unanswered problems, and confusions and contradictions because of the false belief. Right, Mormons? And ex-foes, you know, many people leave the church because of the contradictions and the confusion and the unanswered questions that the church leaders refuse to give answers to. That, you know, it's just, you know, the church is wrong when. So, I got to throw that away. And so, most people were concerned or laughing, mocking about Congressman Green, who was booted out right near the beginning. But again, Trump was lying at the pulpit. And those kinds of lies lead to action. And actions have consequences. Right, Mormons? The ones who attack me are the ones with a false belief. You believe in Jesus Christianity, and that's why you attack. Same with the debate between the false dichotomy of Democrats versus MAGA. You cannot argue MAGA with the Democrat Party platform. Likewise, MAGA can't argue the Democrat Party platform with MAGA. You have to know the other position and argue the other position and the premises that led to their conclusions. And this is what neither side refuses to get. Well, they refuse to get. Neither side, well, either side. Double negatives. Stupid English. Can't let me say whatever I want and mean whatever I think. Not what I say. Stupid consequences. And so, it's not about whether or not, you know, he as a Democrat is standing up to Trump, or whether, yeah, kick him out. That's the wrong argument to make. What he was saying and refused to stand down was the lie that Trump was pushing and continuing to push. And I think it was over Social Security, wasn't it? I'd have to go back and watch it again. But Trump kept pushing it, and he kept ad-libbing higher and higher ages for Social Security recipients. There was even one that was over 300 years old. That is a dangerous lie, because Trump wants to gut Social Security, cut it off. In the Project 2025, yeah, bye-bye Social Security. And so this is a big concern. Congressman Green knows this. You cannot allow Trump to speak those kinds of lies when the whole world is watching, because those words are believed by people or just let go so that others believe and accept the lie, and then actions are taken based on the lie, and then there are consequences from those actions. People are going to get hurt and murdered from that kind of a lie. Innocent people who don't deserve the abuse. And so for him to say, oh, we're just going after the corruption, we're just going after the undocumented and illegals wrongfully taking from the government. No, Project 2025 is gutting the whole thing. He's doing it step by step, in case you hadn't caught on for his first month or 6 weeks. Because in the beginning, he forced his way to get rid of people. Physically sent in the military to the southern border. Physically had ICE go around, except for Utah. Then the second phase was to put Musk in and cut off funding. And he claims, oh, it's those illegals, undocumented, it's the corruption that's in the system. And he rambled off all of that numbers too. And then he escalates, as a consequence, the cost of living, as he goes after tariffs. Stock market is falling. People's lives are going to be ruined. People are going to be out of work. He's cutting people off from federal work. He's firing them. And now with the tariffs on top of it, the people who got fired are not going to have a job because the businesses are closing down now as a consequence of tariffs, because the prices get so high, people can't afford them. So your mom and pop stores are the first to go. Your more elegant stores of higher price for a higher quality of living stores, they go also first. And so only your basic necessity stores remain, thus Amazon, Walmart. And so the homeless or the poor end up suffering as the grocery prices and the cost of basic living is going to skyrocket now. You're going to be forced to buy only what you can afford. And this consequence is going to lead to businesses failing, people losing their jobs, and there are many people in America who are just one paycheck away from homelessness. One crisis, and they're on the streets. And then the food bank, well, if nobody is donating because they're all asking for handouts, then the food banks can't do anything. And then there's a wider and wider and wider gap between the 1%, which is only the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and the rest of the 99%. As Musk and Bezos and Gates, they're at the top of the 99%, sort of, or the bottom of the 1%. But once you get rid of Americans, there's nobody left to purchase their goods. And so their business will then collapse as well. The whole economic system collapses. This is what we're heading for. And Trump admitted it. Did you not watch? I know, it was an hour and a half long. It's like watching one of my videos. I couldn't even watch it all the way through. I had to take a bathroom break after an hour and 10 minutes. He was talking about sailing the ships and the ports. That was where I had to rush to the bathroom. I didn't keep my cord that was long enough to take me into the bathroom. I should have. I didn't. I was denied a lot of things. Anyway. And so, yeah, this is what's happening. The federal government is getting destroyed. The economy is about to tank. This is why he's doing tariffs, and this is why Canada is concerned. This is why other nations are concerned. The stock markets worldwide are collapsing now. What Trump did to America is having ripple effect consequences for the rest of the world. He is forcing every nation to fend for themselves. And obviously there are some nations who don't want to just settle for their own land. They're wanting to take other people's land. And thus, Trump is also catering to those countries to say, hey, well, if they want to expand their land, that's their right. They're a sovereign nation. And this is what he's doing. He's making America a sovereign nation, not dependent on others. He's expecting Americans to step up and make American products. That's why he talked about the Taiwan semiconductors. They moved their plant to America. He says that is fine because you'll be paying American taxes. Not really. But because none of them pay taxes. It's only the people that get screwed over because of the amendment in the Constitution. The original Constitution, no American citizen was to pay taxation. And then Congress put in that amendment. And so now everybody's screwed. It was only supposed to be businesses, commerce and trade that was supposed to be the taxation for America. And they're supposed to live within our budget. But then the stock market got created and chaos ensues. And so, yeah, the stock market learned from the Great Fall in the early 90s or 1900s. And so the stock market is not connected with the economy. But the big businesses who employ people are connected with the stock market. And so when the stock market crashes, they then punish their customers, their employees, until eventually there is no business left to run. And then you get the CEO of Kroger who gets involved in sex crimes, scandals, and gets fired. But no, a Blockbuster Video CEO or CFO or whoever he was stole money from Blockbuster on his way out. Blockbuster was crashing, and so he took some money and ran. And I checked to find out who the guy was once, and it wasn't the guy who came to visit our store down on Bangalore and 6,000 South. I think that's where it was. Or 54th South, 56th South, somewhere right there. It's now a check cashing place now. The guy didn't like Blockbuster Video being there, even though it was a stable rent, lease, or whatever. He wanted some other kind of business there. He didn't like Blockbuster being there. I don't know why, but anyway. It's gone. And so, yeah, our turning that into a profit-making business right after they built the brand new one on 60th South further west. That ruined their plans. They were purposely going to tank our store to get rid of it. Thanks for letting us employees know. Anyway, memories on the corner of my mind. And so what's going to happen next, if the stages are going to continue as he's doing them, is after the forced deportation, military presence, and ICE and the agents physically removing people and locking them up, then you had the cutting of programs and funding, and then you had the firing of unnecessary employees. Well, we cut the program, you're not needed anymore. And so, what comes next is another forcing. With the businesses collapsing, Trump's going to say, well, why don't the homeless go and work for you? So there's going to be forced labor. And then you're going to have a cutting of all government benefits. You guys aren't getting a job that are now available for you because we got rid of all the illegals. And now you're just mooching off the system, so we're cutting you off of that. It's the same pattern, but now it's going to the next level. And so after cutting off all benefits, you're going to have more casualties and more consequences of economic destruction. And in case you never knew about Trump and his previous history with running businesses, the puppet masters who put Trump in knew exactly who they put in. They've been grooming him for quite a long time. And so, after cutting of all benefits, then businesses collapse because they can't get people to fill the jobs. And the prices are just too high that nobody can afford to live. And so you end up with more homelessness and more business failures and more government benefits that are denied. And the charity food banks and other donation stuff, they're depleted. Nobody can donate anymore. And there's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints telling Mormons, you're wicked, you're scum, you're losers, because you're not righteous enough to get a full paying job for your polygamous wives and all those children. We're not a welfare state. You gotta get a job to get our food. Tithing as fire insurance? Yeah. Both California and now the Carolinas both know that fire insurance for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints means you ain't getting a single penny from the church to help you restore your lives. I'm still waiting for which apostle, if it'll be Holland again or somebody else, who will go to the Carolinas, give a talk and say, our hearts are with you. Just believe in Jesus. As the church keeps accumulating wealth upon 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 wealth as this homeless crisis gets worse in the coming days. So the gold card, to finish it off, because it really is all we really need to cover. Save that. Is that Trump, did you pay attention? I mean, the first thing is DEI. I warned you about that. The deep state Dems have always been ones for civil rights. They were a part of the civil rights movement. And now that we know that our own government, under the CIA's direction, were the ones who were murdering John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy, with the release of those documents now, that the Equal Rights Amendment for women, the equal rights for blacks, is a completely separate thing from the current DEI that Trump has done away with now. Trump made it very clear what the context of meaning is for MAGA's interpretation of DEI. And it's LGBTQIAPO+. He left out the A and the P and the O, I think. He tried rambling them off. So, yeah, I was impressed that somebody had wrote in the I at least. But again, none of those letters, except for lesbians and gays, existed prior to the 90s. And I did the video last year about the history of this development by psychologists. Another national security threat that came from Nazi Germany to work with the CIA to overthrow the government, to create a false dichotomy in America. Divide and conquer. The Art of War, which Trump's book, The Art of the Deal. He is not negotiating with tariffs. He is extorting with tariffs. Zelensky has caved to Trump's extortion because he knows that without the United States' support, he will lose to Putin, even with the European Union behind him now. Because he doesn't want America also against him siding with Putin, which, too late, should have paid attention to the first term. Deep state Dem press. I think Trump is siding more with Putin. Again, are you really that naively stupid, having forgot what you used to cover in the news? Or are you treating your followers as stupid? Dear God. It's just everywhere. Everybody's doing it. And it's pissing me off. And I need something for comfort. I used to have a tiger blanket. The first ex threw it away. Actually, no, I managed to salvage it even though I had to hide it and pack it away. Yeah, it was my parents. They threw it away. I was using it as decoration on the chair that got thrown away. But the first ex got rid of the Winnie the Pooh bear that was made for me. And the Pillsbury Doughboy doll. She didn't want to clean it for the kids. Probably worth $1 billion now. Those old vintage toys, you know, they're collector's items, but nonetheless, nobody cares about my life. Everybody's waiting for Jesus still. And this is where we're getting to with the gold card. But I warned you about what Nazi Germany did to gays, labeling them first and then going after them. And I warned you recently, before Trump took office. And here we go. Part of the shutting down of government programs and agencies had to do with that. He was on a tear, talking about all the stuff that Musk has found, transgender people in Africa that we're funding. Nobody knows where that is in Africa. He's most likely making it up. I didn't bother to check a map. You can't trust him. But he's using that as an excuse to justify what he's doing. He ignores the parts of the innocent victims who suffered to justify doing what he's doing for his end final solution. And so now that there's only male and female, oops. And I was thinking more about this because on my mission, this was the transition from the 80s into the 90s. And while I was in Manhattan with my companion one afternoon, I think, there was a group of guys dressed like women that were walking across the platform by us. And as they got closer, one of them looked me in the eye and gave me a big old smile. They are not trans as currently defined. The people in New York educated me on the different types that existed back then. You had gays who have sex with men. Lesbians have women sex with women. Now, we all know of. And so, yeah, they can do guys and girls and guys and dolls and whatever. But those men or women who like to dress in the other sex's clothing are called transvestites. They are not gay. They just wear the other sex's clothing. You know, Dudley Moore's Hello Dolly, was it? Or Mrs. Doubtfire. You know, Hollywood movies made it look fun to dress up in other people's clothing. And so you get Halloween parties where men dress up as women, like Dolly Parton, and women dress up like men. And it was just accepted as, you know, something fun to do. And those guys who were dressed up like women were going to a drag party where they put on performances and they do karaoke events in their drag costumes. That was a big thing in Manhattan during that time. And so, in and of itself, it's harmless. And so now you've seen where Drag Queen Story Hour now becomes an issue that triggers MAGA. Because drag queens are seen as all lumped up together by MAGA. They're all the same. And so when LGBTQIAPO plus finally got to overthrow the 14th Amendment Section 1 with additional laws and protections for just them, this pissed off MAGA to no end. They're frothing at the mouth. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was on the forefront of this frothing, as they even tried to rig the California Prop 8 election and interfering with court cases both in California and Colorado for bakers who didn't want to bake cakes for gay couples. And so then you have pride parades that began, and this is just, I mean, MAGA, their heads are spinning around. They're levitating above their beds. They're just so incensed with this that they have to control other people's lives, that they call it a threat, a bullying tactic, so that they can justify the actions. You lie to justify the actions, and then there are consequences. So I saw this coming. And so when DEI, as LGBTQIAPO+, got merged with blacks and women, that was a face-palming moment. Because now you have what he exposed, men joining women's sports to beat the hell out of women. And women, except for those who get kicked off the team, don't see that as a problem, because you've been bullied by LGBTQIAPO+, who violated the Constitutional Amendment 14, Section 1, to get their own special privilege laws. Thus, there's an inequality in those laws, where the 14th Amendment, Section 1, made everybody equal. And so everybody gets bullied. You have to accept us. We're a discriminated category now. And thus, receiving benefits for their discriminated category. I saw this coming. I warned you. You didn't believe. But granted, yesterday I was under full attack by YouTube. He was frothing at the mouth. His head was spinning around and levitating above the bed over the Sunday videos I did. And Saturday too, I guess. And so, yeah, it didn't help when I did the Monday video. Monday. This was Tuesday yesterday, wasn't it? The Monday videos also. Oh my goodness. I was loving it, being left alone for once. And so, yeah, I mean, seriously, it's simple. The church claims to be Christian. They're false. End of debate. It's over. Mormons are wrong. Not complicated. And yet, they're all a bunch of little sensitive snowflakes getting triggered. Throwing it back in their faces. Okay, so, gold card. Now, I've been telling you that there are the four things left for the latter days. I'm gonna find it and pull it up. I didn't bring it up. Whoop, there you be. And I need to delete you. And I see Microsoft also attacked me yesterday too. Because now they don't always want to show the slide rule to zoom in or out, and it's just, God. But yeah, and then it freezes, so I have to keep clicking until it disappears from the screen, and then I gotta put it back up. I mean, seriously, why? What makes them, other than to just toy with their customers? And it's the only thing, because there's no reason to force me to do what they want me to do for my own system. They should be giving me options. Saying, hey, we have all these options. You can choose how you want your system to look like and function like. Nope. Do it our way, or we're going to cyber terrorize you. So, final 4 events for the millennium to transition into it. There's the fall, there's the transfer of authority, the Exodus, and the establishment of Zion. So Trump, yeah, well underway. 5th of November was the fall of the United States of America. We are now MAGA. He's already told us there will be no more elections. He's just toying with you right now because it's still a couple years away, or it's next year for the midterms, but that doesn't affect the presidency. He's already demonstrated to all enemies around the world, AI, yeah, you need it. It works great. And so, yes, Utah, we're getting a data center for AI here in Utah, too. Yeah, that'll go over well with consequences, won't it? And seriously, it just got exposed that AI crashed planes into each other. And so now, yay, let's get a data center for Utah. Great idea. It's inspired by Jesus. Next. Remember, Oak said he's to blame for all of it. And nobody's blaming him. God. For the transfer of authority, yeah, Inauguration Day, 20th of January. And so for the Exodus, Trump made it very clear that very first day, get the hell out. That's his Exodus. Deportation. And so I was concerned that if they were to come into Utah, boy was I stupid, with over 600 on Trump's hit list, how am I going to get you guys to Zion? Because the church already has it planned for their Exodus in the next column. And so Trump's establishment of Zion is next year. He's going to celebrate making America great again. And if you haven't caught on, the deep state Dems are playing stupid as they can't figure it out. They're just assuming, well, it was before a Democrat president previously. You know, when Trump first took office, we're making America great before Obama and Clinton. So back to the Bush era. Everybody assumed that must be what he means. And so now that he's in again, he says, we have now made America great. We have done it. We have been victorious now. So was it just the winning over Biden? No. It's from what he's been doing. He's overthrown the government. He's destroyed the federal government. He's overthrown the Constitution. He's king. When was America run by a king? Yeah, before the Revolutionary War. And that whole Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. That's what he's talking about by Make America Great Britain again. A monarchy again. Stupid deep state Dems. God. And so, anybody know their Book of Mormon by chance? What does the Book of Mormon teach about kings? If you don't know, get the hell off my channel. Even the church teaches you that kings are bad, which always confused me as a kid. Wait a minute, Jesus is coming to be king, but kings are bad. Oh, but Jesus is the righteous king. Okay, whatever. Jesus inspired the Constitution, but Jesus is coming to overthrow the Constitution and run a monarchy. Okay. Whatever. So for the church, May 1st, by the way, is the anniversary of the Illuminati. If for some awful, horrible fate of doom, we end up having to go into next year. No Zion. This is what you gotta watch out for. As if he's gonna move it to the 1st of May. Now he has ways of making that happen. But that's the anniversary of the Illuminati. The same for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints under Brigham. And in case you're naive and you never heard, when was the Nauvoo Temple dedicated by Brigham Young Mormons? And what is that keystone symbol on the doors of the Salt Lake Temple? Birds of a feather coo together. You were warned in the Book of Mormon, and you did not listen because you did not believe. You were looking for Jesus. So for the church, they're waiting for a fall. And this now needs to be corrected. Because of last night. It's not the fall of Trump that they're waiting for. Didn't happen. So Trump then is Jesus. I warned you. That was a very high probability. I did the video where everything that Nelson said was fulfilled by Trump. Even the wounds. And notice how he toned it down last night. He corrected it. He didn't say my ear was blown off. I was saved by God to make America Great Britain again. Because he was using it in the context of the ones who were the family of the actual guy who was assassinated. That I warned you, nobody's investigating his assassination and the link with the shooter. Trump is using it to promote him. And so, yes, with Project 2025, the church has the same final four with Trump. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints wants America to fall, with Trump becoming king, gutting the federal government and destroying it. The church wants the transfer of authority for Trump to get the federal government out of Utah so that the state of Utah can do whatever they want and still be a state under Trump. There are consequences that they still are not aware of yet, but this is what they're expecting. Because when you hire a monster to do a job for you, you got to be careful of the monster coming back on you. I don't know how many movies I've seen with that same scenario. And this has the month for Purim. Yes, indeed. But. And so the transfer of authority is very plain and precious to anybody who's paying attention. Trump is staying away from Utah. He's letting Utah do their own thing. But Trump also announces his executive orders and stuff for what the church also wants done, which is in Project 2025. Notice, however, that when it came to porn, Trump only talked about Melania's version of porn, AI porn of teenage girls. And yet, when he spoke, he generally said anybody who uploads porn. Are you paying attention, Utah police officers? If you upload porn to try to catch people, you guys are the criminals. They're coming after you. Uh-oh, you're going to have to stop that process, aren't you? Going to have to actually investigate crime and get warrants and, oh my God, red tape. All because of the false belief that women are porn. Technically, AI is an art form and should be protected as, oh wait, it is in our we don't have a constitution anymore, it's been burned. But yeah, that's what transfer of authority means for Trump, or for the church, is that Utah gets to do whatever they want. And so they'll still have Cox as the figurehead. But the church, obviously, we all know this, tells Cox what to do. Tells the legislature what to do. And they do it, or they get punished by the Strengthening Church Members Committee. And so the church can then go forward with their exodus once they are fully confident they now have sovereign autonomy over the state of Utah. Section 119, verses 5 and 6, tells us exactly what their exodus plan is. You're not paying tithing, you're out. You're not worthy to live in Utah. And all they have to do is say, you're an illegal undocumented, you're a terrorist, so that if it gets to the federal level, Trump will just say, oh, okay, yeah, you do whatever you want. You do you. So all of you who are apostates, prepare yourselves for a good whipping. How many remember that video clip I used? They are prerequisites for my channel. And so the church is hoping to establish Zion. And this is where I mock and laugh at them constantly for their utter failures. Is that Trump has denied sanctuary cities, but he's leaving Utah alone. But isn't it hilarious that the church also can take advantage of the gold card, just like I can for you guys, if the real Jewish scripture interpretation happens. But I did some math on this with the 600,000 in the state of Utah. Notice Trump also went after BYUs in America. All of them from another country are illegal and on Trump's hit list. And he says, hey, this gold card is a great idea to solve that problem. All of those from Canada, who come to Rick's or BYU Hawaii. Yeah, there is no BYU Idaho. It is forever Rick's. And it lies in ash with the Dome of the Rock on top of it. I even had to look this up because I'd forgotten it. For the church to be in compliance with the new sheriff in town, $5 million per gold card for the 600,000 is $3 quadrillion. And I'm sure that's petty cash for the church. Is that why they're saving all that money? To pay for the gold cards to build Zion. Because all the missionaries who come to America, all of those who come to the schools, all of those who are in the leadership positions, all who work for the church, all illegal on Trump's hit list. The church has to pay for all of them if he wants them to stay in Utah. And so, yes, I expect that the church will purge first before Trump comes down on them to make sure that they compensate him for those who are illegal in Utah and the rest of the nation. Oh, dear God. 3 quadrillion. Talk about your 1% of the 1% of the 1%. And then the one from scriptures with the Jewish interpretation is, yeah, this whole corrupt system has to fall in order for mankind to continue to exist. There is serious warnings of this danger from the Bible, from the Book of Mormon, from Joseph Smith, from other sources that Christians rejected. Everybody knows of this danger, and here it is. Scriptures are being fulfilled, and because of Christianity, nobody sees it. And so then there has to be a transfer of authority. I don't see how this is going to happen. The church refuses to do it. They aren't going to give it up. They are going to go down to their graves, lying and denying. I started a recycling program, so I've got a new bin for the recyclables. And so my hoops shooting skills are back to poor quality again. I got up to an 88%, 88.3 or 6% I was at a negative 37% when I started. You think Shaq was bad? And so, yeah, I seriously have no clue how any of this is going to happen. And I'm always surprised when things do happen according to the prophecies. You know, like 2020. Never expected any of that to happen, and it did. Parted the waters. Oh, okay, I was just thinking that was metaphorical. I didn't think I'd actually do it. And then last year, again, because I'd already been doing how Nelson fails, doing contests with him about the priests of Baal and Elijah, and he always loses. But last year, oh my God, I was doing a countdown, and I didn't expect that it was going to be that, and it was. And I'm like, oh, okay. Somebody's got game. And still, Mormons don't see it because they're waiting for Jesus. They don't see all of the fulfillment of scriptures that's going on. It's about Mormons. It's not about Christians. It's not about Jews. It's not about Islam. It's not about anybody but Mormons. All of it. The Bible is about Mormons. And why can't Mormons get it? Why is it so hard to see Jews and interpret Jews? To study Jews? When the church tells you Christian, when they put another testament of Jesus Christ on the cover, you know automatically they're false prophets. You know this church is false. This isn't Joseph's. And sure enough, Messiah ben Joseph is supposed to be assassinated by the enemy who steals their religion and turn it Christian. The Jews called this the abomination of desolation when the Greeks did it to them. And then the Romans did it to them. And then the Christians did it to them. And then Islam did it to them. And then Brigham did it to them through Joseph. But yeah, the scriptures are all set up for this to happen. But that's what I've also been worried about. It's because there's also a warning that if there isn't enough people to build Zion who believe the truth, who act on the correct beliefs, and thus the correct consequences for good follow, there will be no Zion for anybody. The whole world will be exterminated of mankind. That's the warning from Malachi about the fathers turning their hearts to the children and the children to the fathers, lest the whole earth be wasted, as Joseph Smith adds. At his coming. And I never understood that. Now I do. And so, yeah, obviously Mormons don't give a damn about signs. They don't give a damn about miracles. They're waiting for Jesus. And until Mormons can purge themselves of Jesus, they will never know the truth. When the church comes after them, then they'll leave and be offended and join the others who are also remaining in ignorance, arguing about whether or not Joseph Smith translated Egyptian correctly, whether or not Joseph translated the biblical Hebrew text correctly, whether or not Joseph Smith used rocks in a hat, whether or not Joseph was a polygamist, violating the Book of Mormon, violating his own scriptures, or not. I mean, dear God. See, I have in the queue as a low priority to go over John Dehlein's interview with the Mormon woman who believes Joseph Smith did not commit polygamy. She's gone missing, but looking at her channel and the distance between videos, I can understand. She's using John DeLynn as the buffer video until she comes up with another idea for a video, unless she got shamed by John DeLynn. He's a psychologist, dear. I warned you not to go. 5.5 hours. Oh my God. And he didn't do a part 1 or part 2 or part 3 all together as one. Dear God. Even I do series videos. All right, we're done. But yeah, this is what we're waiting for now, as I've gone over with you. Everybody has their agenda, and it's now a survival of the fittest for king of the hill to who's going to be on top in the end. And so maybe the church is hoping that Trump fails and collapses and everything is destroyed in America anyway, because then the church has no competition whatsoever, nobody who thinks they're king. I don't know. But yeah, they're using Trump for their goals. That was what I suspected, because I did the video. Everything they say, Trump did. Gotta pay attention to me, guys. Gotta pay attention. Can't just ignore me.